To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so today I'm back at the tiny house build. And as you know, we're getting close to getting this wrapped up to get it finished. It just seems like all the detail work is in the way now, and the detail work is taking so long because they're just, well, it's details. Yesterday, you saw that I was working on this box that I've been building. This box is going to have our IBC tank in it, our water tank. We're going to put this box and the water tank, the water tank will be inside it, up against the house. And so the idea is that we'll insulate this. I still got to put a roof on it, well, just a cap, because I'll be able to take that cap off so I can fill the tank. This wall here will be able to come down, and we're going to drill a hole in the side of the box right here. And I've already drilled a hole into the side of the house right here. So the box will go up against the wall here, then I'm going to drill a hole into the box, and then I'm going to put a tube inside this hole and into the box. That way I can put a little computer fan in the tube. Then I can blow the warm air from our house, because it's so nice in here with this stove on. Oh, look at that. So then I'll be able to blow hot air just a little bit. I don't need a real big temperature change out there. I just need to raise it up above 32 degrees. Here we have a vent. You'll see that it'll go here. Now I'm going to have to cut this vent open a little bit, because not only am I going to have a fan in there, the hose or the pipe or whatever we're going to use a hose is going to come through this tube. This is the tube I was telling you about. It's flexible tubing. It's 8 foot long. It stretches out, and I'm only going to use half of it here. I'm going to use the other half behind the stove, because the stove has an inlet, an air intake inlet, that we're going to run from over here to the back of the stove, because right now we have to keep the door cracked in order to run the stove, or we start to lose air in here and the fire dies down. It's hard to breathe, so that's sucking air through. When we get that intake through the wall, that's where all the air comes in for the stove. That's important, because then any cracks or crevices you have in your house, that hot air is not getting drawn in through those cracks and crevices. It's only being drawn in through the back of the stove. There's no way for me to show you. It's just too tight, but it's way down here underneath the blower. Now, yes, the stove does have a blower on it, but as you know, we're on solar panels, so we won't be able to use the blower. So then the other thing that I got to run through this tube is a wire, 2 wires, to run the DC RV pump. We're going to have a little lawnmower battery up here, and we're going to put a little trickle charge on it. You can buy them for 20 bucks. You just plug it right into the wall. So our solar panels will charge the batteries down there. We'll run AC up here, AC electric, and then we'll plug this little trickle chargers that you can buy at Walmart into it, and then it'll just constantly charge that little lawnmower battery. The RV pump just doesn't take a lot of electricity. I mean, you only run it for maybe, a couple minutes at a time. The most you'll run it is during the shower. Of course, we shut our showers off as we soap up and shampoo our hair. We shut the water off because we don't want to use all the water out of the tank. Now, sometimes we take a luxury shower. We'll leave it run the whole time. But most of the time, that pump only runs a couple minutes at a time, then it shuts off. And then you probably won't run it for another 2 or 3 hours. So that little trickle charger will charge that battery up from our battery banks and solar panels down there at the camper. You see, my biggest problem with moving the water tank up here is the DC electric. I would have to run not only AC electric all the way from the camper, but I would have to run DC electric all the way from the camper too. And DC has a lot of amps, 12 volts and lots of amps to make, the same amount of power as 110 watts and 5 volts. It makes a lot of sense to run the wire for the AC, because you don't have to pull as many amps. If you pull a lot of amps through a wire through a long distance, you'll start to burn up the wire. So it just didn't make sense to have like 8 gauge wire. It would have been, this big around. It would have been enormously expensive. So buying this little trickle charger to charge up a lawnmower battery, and at night it'll be completely charged because you don't run the water at all at night. So then I'll also put a little fan on it, a little computer fan. Those computer fans are DC electric too, and I'll run that off the same lawnmower battery that the RV pump's running off of. So all that wiring will be back here. Now, we got our shower yesterday. It's in this box. Sorry about the lighting. And the shower is 32 inches wide and 32 inches long. So that comes out to about right here. It's hard to show you. So that's going to leave us about a foot of space in between the shower and the wall. So my plumbing will come up through here into the shower, into our on-demand water heater. The on-demand water heater will be in the shower with a little propane tank. I think the propane tank will probably fit in there also. I hope, cross my fingers. If not, I gotta find a spot for that. But in the past, we've actually put the propane tank in the shower when we were nomads, so that might have to be done. We'll see. I didn't measure that. I didn't think of the propane tank until just now. So once again, thank you for helping me figure things out as I talk it through. Being honest, walking through the steps on camera makes me remember a lot of things. Like I was out there just a minute ago showing you the box. I noticed that I missed a screw. I'd have never caught that if I hadn't been showing you the box. Again, I'm going to cut out the other hole over here on the other side. I'm going to paint at least one wall of the box, the one closest to this wall. That way I can get that up against this wall, get the hole cut into the box. Now, what I used to cut the hole, I had to have the hardware guy help me out, and even he didn't have it all figured out for our walls. So I had to drill a hole through our pallet wood, and then I had to go through the wall, you know, the 6 inches, it's 5.5 inches. And then on the other side, I got OSB and metal material. So to put it all together, I have the metal, the pallet wood, and I don't see the OSB. So what I had to do was I had to have a drill long enough that when I cut a hole through one side, the drill would come out the other side, so I knew where the hole was. And I went around to the other side and drilled it back in. So I'm going to do that over here to the stove also. So when I bought this, he said the drill bit would fit through the cutter, but it didn't. He also said that this piece down here would fit into my little drill, and it didn't. So I spent a good hour trying to figure out what I was going to do about that, and it's not the best solution. But what I ended up having to do was drill this shaft, inside diameter, out bigger so this drill bit would fit through it. That's what we had talked about. That's what he's told me this would do, but it didn't do it. It was $36. It wasn't like I could return it because I still needed it. I just needed it to work, so I had to modify it to make it work. I just got to go slow because the Allen screw here that attaches the drill bit to the saw doesn't exactly hold it really tight, so I have to go slow, otherwise the drill bit will spin, but the saw won't. Okay, so I also got my outdoor electrical wire I've been telling you about. Just told you we're gonna run AC electric up here. So we got 250 feet of it. That was only $100. Amazon's a pretty neat place. Everywhere I've ever looked, there's a light gray wire, and that wire, last time I looked, was $200. This was $100. This was an amazing savings. I can run this anytime. This isn't going to be hard. I'm just going to plug it right into the inverter down there. My inverter is what changes DC electric into AC electric. I'll plug that in. You know, I got to put a little plug-in thing on it. I already got that. That's down in the camper. And you can Google if you get confused on how to wire things up, because you'll buy something and it's got a gold prong and a silver prong. If you Google it, it will tell you which color wire, black or white, goes on what color. And then I'm just going to plug that into the inverter. I'm going to come up here. Then I'm going to wire that into little plug-in receptacles. I'll have 3 of them, one around each window, you know, somewhere near the window. I'm going to come up from underneath the floor. The receptacle is going to sit outside the wall. Okay, so I'm going to get started painting the box. Okay, so I got the 3 sides painted. I know it's not a very exciting job, but it's one that's got to be done, and it pretty much is holding up everything else. So after I filmed the first part of this video, Carolyn and I were talking about what is the most critical thing to get in right now, and we've decided the shower is the most important thing to get in because Carolyn is now sweeping the floor and getting everything cleaned up so she can put the flooring down. She wants to put the flooring down. So I got to get the shower in so she can do that. It means I got to be able to cut that hole, get it all installed, hang the shower, and then I can come over here and I can do the tin, you know, that silver, this stuff over here behind the stove. So I hope I can inspire you to get to the detailed work of your dream. Thanks for watching.